Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive with us. We get so many requests from you all about what to cover, and the one that kept coming up over and over again was ROPA IVF.
One of the things that's really fascinating about ROPA IVF is it really stands out from traditional IVF in a key way. And that's this concept of a shared biological connection. So in traditional IVF, one partner will typically provide both the egg and carry the pregnancy.
Right.
But with ROPA, both partners are actually directly involved in that biological
That
process,
makes sense.
which creates, I think, a much deeper sense of shared parenthood from the very beginning.
Right from the get-go, you're both in it together.
Exactly.
And the article on OVU.com, they actually highlight how important this is for so many couples. It's not just about having a child together. It's about both partners,
Literally.
being equally involved in bringing that child into the world.
Absolutely.
And that's such a cool aspect.
It really is. And I think, too, it can be incredibly powerful just emotionally when you think about it. You both have that biological connection to your child, and it really sort of solidifies that idea of two moms right from the start.
Yep.
It tackles that sometimes awkward and often, I think, hurtful question of who's the real mom head on.
Right, because the answer is
They both are.
they both are.
Right.
Yeah, it completely removes that whole conversation, which is amazing.
And then on top of that, ROPA also offers solutions for couples who might be dealing with medical considerations.
Okay.
Maybe one partner has a condition that makes it difficult or even risky to conceive with their own eggs.
Uh-huh.
ROPA provides an alternative path to biological parenthood in those cases, too.
So it solves a lot of problems,
Mm-hmm.
creates this beautiful connection.
Yeah.
So we've established ROPA IVF. It's like an amazing option for many couples.
Mm.
But of course, then the next question becomes, where is it even possible,
Yeah.
legally speaking?
Right. That is a big one. And the legal landscape is, well, it's actually quite diverse
I bet.
for ROPA IVF.
Yeah.
And OVU.com, again, they do a great job of breaking it down by country. It's almost like a global patchwork quilt.
So it gets really complicated.
You can, yes.
Okay, well, I'm ready to go on a world tour with you. Let's embark.
Let's do it.
Let's start.
It's ready.
Yes, passport's ready. Let's start in North America. What do we got going on there?
Okay. Let's start with Canada. Canada is generally supportive of ROPA IVF, and that's thanks in part to their Assisted Human Reproduction Act. This act prevents discrimination based on sexual orientation.
Okay,
So legally accessing fertility treatment shouldn't be a problem,
that's good.
but there's a little catch.
Ooh, there's always a cat.
There always is, right?
Tell me more.
So while the act is fantastic in terms of access, it doesn't actually get into the details of parental recognition,
Oh,
and that can differ from province to province.
really?
Yeah.
So it's not like a blanket
Oh,
all across Canada.
no, it's not a blanket.
So Canadian listeners, if this is on your radar,
Yes,
you got to check your provincial laws.
absolutely.
Okay. All right, so we've got Canada. A little bit tricky, but seems doable. What about south of the border? What about the U.S.?
All right, so heading south to the USA, things get even more complex because there's no federal law that specifically addresses ROPA.
Oh, wow.
So it's really up to each individual state to determine its own
Oh,
rules
my gosh.
regarding parentage, especially for the non-gestational mother.
Okay, so wait. So you're saying that a couple could go through ROPA IVF in a state where it's readily available, but then still face legal hurdles when it comes to establishing parental rights?
Unfortunately, yes, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Oh, my gosh.
So seeking legal counsel in the U.S. is absolutely essential
Okay.
for couples who are even thinking about ROPA.
So lawyer on speed dial.
Pretty much.
Got it. Okay, so that's the U.S. What about Mexico? The OVU.com article mentions it as an option.
Yeah, Mexico has become known for being quite accessible. When it comes to IVF for lesbian couples, including ROPA,
Okay.
they even highlight affordability as a key factor in attracting couples from other countries.
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, affordability is obviously
It's huge.
a big factor for a lot of people, especially when it comes to these
Especially, yeah.
important life decisions. Okay, Mexico, check. Before we leave North America, what about Panama?
Panama. Panama's a bit of a gray area. So, according to OVU.com, while it is possible to pursue ROPA IVF there, the legal rights of both mothers aren't entirely clear.
So it's like a proceed with extreme caution
Exactly.
situation.
That's a great way to put it.
You really need to.
You need to seek expert legal advice in Panama to really understand what the potential risks are and to ensure that both partners are protected.
Okay. All right, so we've covered North America. Let's head south. What does South America have to offer in terms of ROPA IVF?
Okay.
Where are we going first?
Well, let's kick off our South American exploration in Colombia. a country with a very progressive stance on ROPA IVF.
Okay.
Their constitution actually guarantees access to fertility treatments for all couples,
Yeah.
regardless of their sexual orientation.
So it's not just legal, it's a constitutionally protected right.
That's right.
That's awesome.
It removes a lot of uncertainty and potential legal challenges for couples looking to build their family through ROPA.
Yeah, I can imagine that peace of mind is invaluable. Now, how about Argentina? I've heard they're quite progressive as well when it comes to LGBTQ plus rights.
They are. Argentina is a real champion for LGBTQ plus rights, and that definitely includes access to fertility treatments. They've had equal access to IVF, including ROPA
Yeah.
since 2013. No separate laws, no special conditions, just equal access for all.
I love that, really walking the walk.
Yeah.
Okay, so speaking of trailblazers, Brazil has a fantastic reputation as well in terms of LGBTQ plus rights. What's the situation like there for a ROPA IVF?
Brazil is truly a front runner. ROPA IVF is fully recognized, it's embraced, and as long as a couple is in a stable union, both partners are legally considered parents, plain and simple.
Amazing. Okay, so we've got Colombia with its constitutional protection, Argentina with its equal access approach, and Brazil with full legal recognition. South America seems to be a pretty amazing place for ROPA IVF, ready to hop across the pond to Europe.
Let's go.
All right. Europe offers a fascinating mix of legal landscapes, with some countries being incredibly progressive and others still lagging a bit behind. OVU.com, in their article, points at some really interesting examples, some unexpected ones too.
Okay, I'm all ears. Where do we start?
Well, let's begin in Portugal, a country that's really making waves with its inclusive approach to ROPA IVF. They grant equal parental rights to both partners for children conceived through this method.
That sounds great. Anything else that makes Portugal stand out?
Yeah, here's a key difference between Portugal and some other countries. You don't have to be married to access ROPA IVF in Portugal.
Oh.
They've removed that legal barrier, which makes it a more accessible and inclusive option for all couples.
That's a huge difference.
It is.
Wow.
So that really opens up possibilities. For those who aren't ready or willing to get married, but still want to build a family together.
Yeah.
Using ROPA.
Exactly.
Now, in contrast to Portugal's more open approach, Spain has a bit more of a traditional requirement.
Right.
ROPA IVF is legal there, but only for married lesbian couples.
That's right.
So a trip down the aisle is a prerequisite in Spain.
It is.
What happens once you're married, though?
Once you're married, both partners are legally recognized as the mothers on the baby's birth certificate.
Okay.
So it makes it pretty clear-cut in terms of parental rights.
Okay, bit more restrictive, but at least the legal recognition is there. What's next on our European tour?
Next, we have France, which, after years of advocacy and debate, has finally caught up with some of its European neighbors. It was only in 2021 that they legalized access to fertility treatments, including ROPA IVF, for both lesbian couples and single women.
Wow, better late than never.
Yes.
For those who advocated for these changes, it's great to see more and more countries
It is.
embracing these inclusive practices.
Yeah.
What about Norway? I don't know much about their stance on ROPA IVF.
Well, according to OVU.com, Norway is a bit of a mixed bag. The legal status of ROPA IVF there is somewhat ambiguous. There isn't a clear yes or no, and the interpretation of existing laws can be tricky.
So Norway is a bit of a legal maze when it comes to ROPA IVF.
You could say that.
Okay.
It's definitely a situation where legal counsel is absolutely essential to navigate those complexities and really understand the potential risks and implications.
All right, noted. Always consult with a legal expert in Norway. Got it. Let's move on to Denmark. What have they got going on in the world of ROPA IVF?
Denmark has a very straightforward and inclusive approach to ROPA IVF. Their laws are designed to be accessible and to provide clear parental recognition for both partners.
Okay, that sounds good. Anything else particularly interesting about Denmark's approach?
They've actually gone a step further by allowing what's called double donation.
Double donation.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
So double donation means that both the egg and sperm come from donors.
Oh, wow.
So it opens up possibilities for even more diverse family structures to cater to a wider range of needs and preferences.
So you could have a couple where neither partner contributes genetically, but they both share the journey of pregnancy and parenthood equally through ROPA.
That's exactly right. That's the beauty of it. Denmark's really embracing that diversity of family forms and providing those legal frameworks that support these choices.
Kudos to Denmark. All right, now I'm curious about Austria. I know they're quite progressive in many areas.
Yeah.
But what about ROPA IVF?
Austria is fantastic. Not only did they legalize ROPA IVF, but they also offer significant financial assistance to couples pursuing this path to parenthood.
Really?
Yeah,
Financial assistance. Now, that's something I think a lot of couples would love to hear about.
absolutely.
IVF could be incredibly expensive.
It can.
And having some financial support.
Could make a world of difference. It can remove a huge financial barrier and make ROPA IVF a more attainable option for couples who might otherwise really struggle with those costs.
So Austria gets a gold star for both legal clarity and financial support. Awesome. What's up next on our European adventure?
Next on our list is Cyprus, which has become a bit of a hub for ROPA IVF, with many clinics specializing in the procedure.
Oh, wow. So they're really catering to this growing demand.
They are.
That's interesting. What about the UK? What's their approach like?
The UK has made some fantastic strides in recent years to make ROPA IVF more accessible. For lesbian couples, they've removed some discriminatory barriers that used to exist, making the process much smoother and fairer for everyone involved.
It's amazing to see how these legal changes can have such a profound impact on people's lives. It's literally making dreams come true.
It is.
What about Ireland? I haven't heard much about their stance on ROPA IVF.
Ireland's an interesting one. While their current laws don't specifically address ROPA IVF, there is a legal pathway for both partners to be recognized as parents, as long as certain criteria are met.
So it's not explicitly spelled out in the law, but it is possible to kind of navigate the system and secure parental rights for both partners.
Exactly.
Interesting. Okay, now I could have the million-dollar question. How much does all of this cost? The OVU.com article mentions costs varying wildly depending on location.
You're absolutely right. Cost is a huge factor for most couples, and the price tag for ROPA IVF can be pretty daunting, depending on where you go.
Okay, so give me the numbers. What are we talking here?
All right, so in North America, the U.S. and Canada, you're looking at anywhere from $10,000 to $30,000 per cycle.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a significant investment.
That's a pretty big chunk of change. What about in Europe? Are the costs more manageable there?
Generally speaking, yes. Europe does tend to be more affordable. When it comes to ROPA IVF, the article mentions some countries where you can find programs for under $11,000.
That's a huge difference.
It is.
So location really does play a big role in the affordability.
Absolutely.
But what are some of the other factors that contribute to that cost?
Well, you've got the obvious expenses like clinic fees, medications for both partners, legal fees. But then there are also some hidden costs that people might not think about right away.
Like what? Give us the inside scoop.
Things like sperm donation fees, any additional procedures that might be necessary, and the number of cycles it takes to actually achieve a successful pregnancy. All of that can really add up.
So it's essential to factor in all those potential costs when making your decision.
Yes, it's not just a one-time payment. It's an ongoing investment.
Right. Now, you mentioned earlier that some countries, like Austria, offer financial assistance. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Austria's IVF fund is a fantastic example of how government support can make a huge difference. They can cover a significant portion of the costs for eligible couples, which makes ROPA IVF much more accessible financially.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Are there any other countries that offer similar financial aid programs?
Several European countries do offer some level of financial assistance. For fertility treatments, it's definitely worth investigating what the options are in the specific countries that you're considering.
So the takeaway here is really to do your research, explore all the possibilities, find the best fit for your individual circumstance.
Exactly. It's about finding that sweet spot between the quality of care, having a clear legal framework, and of course, affordability.
It's been an incredible journey exploring the world of ROPA IVF with you. It's clear that this procedure is really revolutionizing family building for female couples and challenging these traditional notions of parenthood.
It's truly inspiring to see how technology, evolving social norms, and a deep desire to create loving families are all coming together to create these new possibilities.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the key takeaway for listeners who are interested in ROPA IVF?
I think the most important thing to remember is that ROPA IVF offers this unique path to shared biological motherhood. For lesbian couples, it allows both partners to be actively and equally involved in bringing their child into the world, which creates this incredibly powerful bond right from the start.
Beautifully said. It's about shared journeys, shared dreams, and ultimately shared love.
And while navigating the legalities and costs, can seem daunting. The information we've uncovered today, thanks to this OVU.com article, really empowers you to make those informed choices and find the path that's right for you.
Exactly. It's all about being informed, prepared, and ready to embark on this incredible journey of creating a family. Thanks for joining us on this fascinating deep dive into the world of ROPA IVF.